And in which war did you serve?
Vietnam
Vietnam War?
War, yes.
Okay. What was your branch of service?
U.S. Army,
What was your highest rank?
a specialist, 4th class.
Okay. And can you tell us just generally the places in which you served?
Okay, we started out training at Fort Devens, Massachusetts, on October 5th, 1965. I got drafted when I was 19 out of Middletown.
So you were drafted?
Here, yeah,
Okay.
exactly 50 years ago this past week.
Okay.
And just ready to turn 20.
All right.
I'm turning 70 next week, July 29th.
Happy birthday. And after your training?
Okay, we trained, basic training we did in Fort Devens, Massachusetts.
Okay.
We did advanced infantry training at Camp Drum, New York
Okay.
in the spring of '66. And then we did advanced unit training at Cape Cod,
Mhm.
Camp Edwards Air Force Base.
Very good.
And August of '66, we were deployed to Vietnam.
And where in Vietnam?
Okay, we had our orders were to build Tay Ninh Base Camp,
Okay.
which is approximately 50 miles northwest of Saigon,
Right.
up near the Cambodian border, in War Zone C.
War Zone C. All right. So you said you were drafted already.
Yes.
Okay. Where were you living at the time?
I was living right on this street here in Middletown.
All right.
I've been on this street since 1950,
Since 1950.
third house.
Okay. What made you want to join the Army?
Well, I got drafted.
You did.
I was in college.
Okay.
I was at the Yukon.
Okay.
And I didn't question it.
So you wanted to be drafted?
Not really. It was a surprise.
Okay.
I was in college, and I really didn't question it. I thought it was my honor to serve my country.
Would you have joined regardless if you were drafted or not?
Probably not. I didn't really know where I was going, but I was in college at the time.
Okay. So it was a surprise to you.
Yes.
Can you describe how you felt once you were first drafted?
Well, it was a surprise, and my friends, I've heard of Vietnam, and,
Yeah.
and I really didn't know where I was going.
Okay.
And even during basic training, they never told us until after basic training. We were told that we were going to be police action in South America.
Right.
So that was sort of a deception.
Yeah, it says so. All right. So what about your first days in service? Can you describe those?
Yes, October 5th.
Okay.
We were at the post office in Middletown, and we got on buses, and we went to Fort Dix, New Jersey.
Right.
And we had to wait for 2 weeks there to be deployed to Fort Devens, Massachusetts, which is up near Attleboro,
Right.
Air, Massachusetts, to start our basic training.
Okay. So how was basic training for you?
Everyone, it was very surprising. Everyone tried to do the best they could.
Right.
And that really surprised me. It was very honorable to do that, and we made close friends. It was like a big giant party. And every day though, it was really tough. We went right through the dead of winter up in Massachusetts, and it was really horrible. And then when we finished basic in April, we got deployed to Camp Drum, New York, and here spring is coming, and it says, oh boy, the days were warmer and everything.
Mm-hmm.
We were right back into the tundra. It was right up on the Canadian border.
That was at the Drum?
Yes, Camp Drum, New York,
Yeah.
for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And it was brutal up there.
Seems to never get warm.
Yes.
So how was that was your A school? That was your military job training?
11B10 at the time, which was infantry, combat infantry. We were light infantry brigade.
So it's like going from basic to extended basic?
Yes. It was called advanced infantry training.
Right. Okay. No? Yeah. All right. So your advanced infantry training. Can you explain that a little bit more and describe the
Yeah,
days
it
for
was a little tougher. They would put us up out into the wilderness,
Right.
more or less, and basically, I think it was trying to control the atmosphere of using the support units.
Right.
So everything would dwell together.
Okay.
And but it was almost like a job, because when we get back, I used to go to the gym there and lift weights and everything. I was reading bodybuilding books and things like that. So I became the strongest guy in my unit.
Really?
And I would arm wrestling. I beat everybody. I weighed 214 pounds at the time, and my uniform actually went. I grew out of my uniform.
Wow.
I got well, I was like the Hulk.
Right.
My buttons were popping, so
How old were
they
you?
weren't happy.
How
I
old
was
were you?
20 years old.
20 years old?
I was happy. They weren't happy that I had to get a whole new uniform
Okay.
because I was reading these books, and at night I would just drink about 8 cartons of milk during the middle of the night, and I gained about 15 pounds while I was at Camp Hill, New York.
Okay.
And I was just doing heavy curls and squats and bench presses. But it was really funny.
Did you get any?
I think back.
Yeah. Did you get any special recognition for that while you were at training?
Just by my fellow comrades.
Okay. All right. So after boot camp, after your AIT,
Right.
where did you go?
Okay, then we went back to Port Evans for a while.
Okay.
And then we were going to Camp Edwards Air Force Base for 2 weeks for advanced unit training.
So is that where you met your unit for the first time? Or?
No. This was when the same unit.
Okay.
We trained as one whole unit, the 196 Light Infantry Brigade.
Right.
And our support units, they would practice, coinciding with everyone up there. And then we got deployed back to Fort Evans for a week. And then on Friday night, we had a large formation. That's when we were told that we were going to Vietnam. And that was at the end of all our training. And we had to get ready for a couple of weeks. And that's when they had the contest about who doesn't want to go on the 2 ships to go to Vietnam. We're going to be going for about over a month.
Okay.
And it just dwelled in my head. I was a very competitive person.
Right.
So I bought a can of Niagara spray starts about this big. I used the whole can up on my uniform, and I actually laid my uniform right up against the wall. It stood up by itself. And every night I would study the general orders, chain of command, the rifle and everything had to be, right to the T. So here we are. There's over 100 and something guys up there, and it came down to one general order. That kid from Ohio. His name was we went by last names.
Mm-hmm.
His last name was Shirky from Ohio. He was tied with me, and he stumbled on one general order, and I got it, and I went colonel's orderly.
Okay.
So everyone went up to Camp Edwards Air Force Base, to go to get deployed in the beginning of July, and I got to stay at the base camp and just clean up the base camp. And every 3 days I would get a pass to come home.
Really?
Weekend pass, 3-day passes, and then I would have to just go back up and check in, come back home again, which was very nice because I just got married too.
Wow.
In May 21st of 66. I had a child on the way, and so that was a nice thing that I could do. I came home.
Did you get married while you were on your leave?
I had a special leave to get married.
Oh, wow.
May 21st, because we were still training at the base camp, getting ready to go to Vietnam. And around August 1st or 2nd, we flew out of Camp Edwards Air Force Base, flew to Alaska, stayed overnight, and then to Yokota Air Base in Japan the next night. And then from there to Tonson Air Base in Saigon. And as soon as I got off the plane in Saigon, this heat and humidity just hit you.
Right. From
Never
Alaska.
forgot that.
Yeah.
And I stayed overnight. They have a special warehouse bunker or something, with bunk beds, a whole big warehouse. And stayed there for one night. The following morning, it was put on a Chinook helicopter and transported to Tay Ninh, which was just a muddy airstrip, nothing there. And we saw the mountain, Ui Ba Den, which is called Black Virgin Mountain. It's in Vietnamese.
Okay.
It was named after a dark Cambodian girl.
Okay.
That's why they call it Black Virgin Mountain. The Cambodians were considered darker people. And that's how they got named. So we were at the base of Ui Ba Den Mountain. And I had to wait for my unit for about 4 to 6 days. And they said, they gave me a pup tent. And I was right on the little airstrip, which was just a muddy thing. It was just during the beginning of the monsoons. And I put this pump tent up, and there was actually a stream running right through my tent. And I would just sleep on a cot there for 4 or 5 days waiting for my unit to arrive. And the first thing I saw, the first day, a UE helicopter was flying. And I looked up, and there was a body dangling from it on a rope. And I asked the nearest soldier, I said, what's going on here? And he says, well, that's one of our interpreters, and if he doesn't talk, we're going to drop him. And all of a sudden, I just got the cold sweats. And I said, what the hell am I doing here?
Yeah.
I got to be here for a year.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it scared the hell out of me.
So that was your first impression.
First impression, and then another thing. The next couple of days, another helicopter comes in. And they just didn't pay attention to me. They just told me where to go eat my 3 meals a day.
Right.
And all I was doing was just waiting there. And a small helicopter flew in onto the airstrip, and it was Gerald Westmoreland.
Uh-huh.
And I should have taken a picture then, but I didn't. I regret that to this day. And I just listened to his generals, you know, the mules coming in, and I listened to the talking.
Right.
Pretty neat. And then he took off right away.
Oh, so you didn't get to meet him?
No, I just watched them talking.
Mm-hmm.
The generals and the head of whoever was running the airstrip at the time.
Okay.
I think it was the 25th Infantry Division. So they were waiting for our unit. Okay, so our unit arrives, and I got together with my buddies. You know, it was really, really great. And we started to build a 10-in base camp. And it took 30 days. And right away we started doing ambush patrols, search and destroy missions out of the base, in the villages, etc.
Okay.
And that's how it all started.
So how long did it take you to build up the camp?
30 days.
30 days.
I do have a great video of that.
Okay.
Building the base camp.
So after you built the camp, what were some of the other things that you did?
Oh God, well, it was just ongoing light infantry brigade, you know, duty and details.
Okay.
Search and destroy missions. Sometimes we would go out for even up to 30 days at a time.
Mm-hmm.
We'd set up temporary base camps here and there, all around the Cambodian border, the trail. It was called the Iron Triangle.
Okay.
The area that I was in. And our mission basically was trying to protect the capital of Saigon from the infiltrating coming down the Cambodian border on Ho Chi Minh Trail towards Saigon.
All right. So can you describe some of the search and destroy missions?
Yeah, we would go out sometimes by 12 helicopters lined up.
Mm-hmm.
We would have to get out there pretty rapidly, and it was like surprise. You know,
Mm-hmm.
come in real quick. The jungle set up a clearing. Sometimes they would use C4, and if there's any trees around, they blast those up. We'd set up a perimeter.
Mm-hmm.
Build overnight hoochers, you know, overnight positions.
Okay.
And usually 2 to 3 man positions we would have all along the extended base camp. Things like that. And then daily we would go out on search and destroy missions.
All right. So you said you might have been out for 30 days.
Yeah, at times. Sometimes they were just 3 and 4 day missions.
Right.
Search and destroy.
Can you describe a typical day while you were out there?
Well, the first week, what happened, I was out with my unit, we're doing a sweep across a rice paddy, and just going to be coming up to a jungle line, and just before the jungle there's elephant grass, just like a little clearing, and I'm about 10 meters away from my squad leader, Sergeant John Carvalho, who's in California now, and we're doing the sweep. We were in front, and all of a sudden, right out of the ground, a VC shot him into the canteen. It could have been me, and then this far away.
Right.
And just one pop, and you knew it was a carbine because carbine has a distinct sound. It's like a pop. And one shot, and then the guy, you know, they had an escape hatch. And Sergeant Carvalho went down, and we immediately, you know, hit the ground, and we crawled over to him, and we used his poncho, and put it under him, and 4 of us carried him to it. We called it a medevac, called it a chopper, and he was medevaced out, and then we continued on with our mission. You know, we were, you know, how many of them were there? We were pretty new at this. We were only there a week, so you know, that was pretty devastating that happened. But we called it the $1 million wound because he got to go home.
Yeah.
What would you rather have, $1 million or your life? So we always said, you know, if you get a wound that will send you home, that's called $1 million wound.
He got hit in the canteen.
He got hit in the canteen, and it injured his hip so bad that he didn't even come back to, you know, he went home for good. You know, but he's still living in California to this day.
Okay.
That was the first week.
So that was some combat that you saw. Did you see any other kind of situations?
Yeah. Well, every night we'd go out on. We would rotate, of course, ambush patrols.
Mm-hmm.
We go out into the villages, and another thing that stuck in my mind. This was during the first month also. We would go out from the Tanyan Gate, and my first ambush patrol. We're coming out before we went out. We were already. I think it was a squad or 2, And first thing I noticed, there was a table set up with a priest, and he's doing for Holy Communion.
Mm-hmm.
And before that, we're all happy and giddy and grab ass and all this, All of a sudden, everybody becomes just so serious. I mean, then when you go out of the base camp, you have this feeling in your stomach, in the pit of your stomach, like, am I coming back?
Right.
What's this going to be? So I have my platoon sergeant went with us because he was 28 years old. We called him an old man because we were all 21, 19 up to 21 or something.
Okay.
So an old man was actually 28 years old. And Sergeant Figueroa, he was in Florida now. I still converse with him. And my first ambush patrol, he told us, he said, we stay off of roads or trails because they could have an ambush patrol set up for us. So we decided to go to the backyards of hooches and Vietnamese housing, villages and things. And we're going through about 8 o'clock at night. We're very dark, and all of a sudden I disappeared. I went right down a well, a backyard well. And he actually sent up a story of that night of what happened. And he wrote this to me. I had to submit it to what happened. But anyway, he grabbed my. He sends down his rifle, I believe. I have 35 pounds of gear on me,
right.
Hand grenades, all kinds of ammunition. My rifle went that way. I just flung it. And I'm down like this underneath water. And I reach up, and he grabs me by my web gear, we call it, just a harness. And he got me out of there. Really shook me up. And there I was, at the ambush patrol site. I'm soaking wet, all kinds of bugs and things. I don't think I slept a wink that night.
Really?
We came home in the morning from that ambush patrol. And nothing happened.
Did the guys ever let you live that down?
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, it was laughter. I wrote a story about that.
Okay.
Muffled laughter. The guys all got a kick out of that.
Sure.
Disappear. Where I went. So that was one of the things that happened.
Okay.
But other than that, we were supported by the 25th Infantry Division out of Cu Chi, which is 25 miles from us. And one other incident that happened, it was we got choppered in. We built the temporary base camp. It was quite large, and I got many photographs of that base camp. We set up our night defensive position, NDP it's called.
Okay.
And that night it was a 3-man position. So what you do is you get on. I think it's an hour on, 2 hours off, to sleep. And right at 1 o'clock in the morning was my watch. There was a tree right up against our sandbags. We actually built sandbags because we were going to be there for about a month.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a large, a DP set up, and you're looking out, and your eyes will play tricks on you. It's pitch black in front of you. We have our claymore mines there. We have our detonators right on the mounds there, and I have a watch that I believe it had what do you call that?
Lumen?
Illuminated watch and see it at night. Just waiting for that second week. So tired from going out in the day, sweating and swatting flags and missions and stuff in the jungles. You're not really that tired. So I'm just waiting for 1 o'clock to come to wake up the next follow my position. And all of a sudden, right at 1 o'clock on the button, I heard a huge noise. And right in front of me, maybe 100 meters out, a big gigantic explosion. I got blown off my position. I was leaning, my helmet was on my, leaning next to a small tree. Built this position up there. And I got blown back and I landed on my head backwards. And all of a sudden, lights came up, the whole place lit up. And lo and behold, to find out what happened, a couple of officers came over, to see what happened, because I came in that sort of position. And to find out, I got blown back, but I was all right. A fellow about 400 meters back was sitting up on his. It was just so hot, I was just still in the 90s and humid and everything. He was sitting up with his knees up, and he got a piece of shrapnel right in his ass cheek. So they medevaced him out at 1 o'clock in the morning. A warrant officer came in the following morning to question me. And right next to where my head was, there was a 1 pound chunk of metal stuck in the tree. And he dug it out with his bayonet. And they analyzed it a few days later. It was a friendly fire round from Cu Chi, 25 miles away, a 155 round.
Really?
Hit this tree. right in front of us. Because they thought the VC were in this area, they didn't realize we were there.
Right.
So that's how.
That was the 25th.
25th Division was our support base for Ho Chi Vietnam. Yes.
Were they the ones that shot it?
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But that's what they would do at night. If they knew that VC were area, that's what they would do all night long. They would bombard these places that suspected Viet Cong units, regiments or whatever were in the area. So.
Did they fire only one shot?
Yeah, because the radio was just all of a sudden.
Oh yeah.
Went nuts,
Yeah, they knew. You knew right away it was theirs.
Right away what it was. And then another thing that comes to my mind, we were going on a sweep, and we knew that there was a regiment of Viet Cong in an area, and we're heading there. And this was really a good thing. We see this little tiny pop plane, a spotter plane. We said, what the hell was that off in the distance? Just da 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 da. And then these F-4 Phantom jets come in, and you wouldn't believe the look. And, oh man, and we didn't even have to go in there. They just wiped out whatever they wiped out.
Really?
But we would support, because we were smaller, like 3,500 men, I believe, or up to 5,000 men our unit.
Mm-hmm.
And we were a lot of support of the Big Red One in the 25th Infantry Division, and that's what we would do. We would join them.
Mm-hmm.
And then probably the worst night of my life was, I think it was Operation Junction City, before Christmas. We were supporting the Big Red One. We would think big. We always heard stories of the Big Red One, movies and all this and that. And then as soon as we saw a patch, wow, there's the Big Red One. Anyway, we come into this unit and we look up and there's no foliage on the trees. So, and then that's the first time I heard about Agent Orange.
Right. And
sky, you can see the sky and everything, because we were under these jungle canopies all the time. So we keep on moving in, and there's all kinds of talk going on, guys are on radios and all this. So all of a sudden we see these guys being carried out. There's 38 dead Big Red One men that were in there for 3 days. They couldn't get them out. And I saw a major with a hole right through his head. It was absolutely horrible. And since they've been there for 3 days, they're all stiff. They almost look like mannequins, and they're being carried out on litters to these planes and put in body bags. So all of a sudden, we just got sick to our stomachs, and what we had to do, we had to go in and take their positions where they were, and to see the first day of a battle was just absolutely incredible. Trees were just blown off like that, flies everywhere, blood spots, and we had to take their positions, their foxholes that night. My buddies are puking, we had big extra foxholes because there was a whole bunch of us. So we're in there, and we have fields of fire that were told to us. In other words, a position, fields of fire mean, some guys fire this way, some guys fire body height, some guys fire up into the trees. So we all have fields of fire and getting ready for the night. So none of us slept out that night. We had 2 man per positions. And all of a sudden, 1 o'clock in the morning, the sky lit up like brighter than daylight. They have these flares, and you hear this dip going on. Everything lit up, and everybody just started to fire. It was just amazing. We were laughing afterward about it. We don't think a flea could get through. And Viet Cong, they never even showed up. It was just so amazing. But somebody, maybe a booby trap happened, or somebody let off a claymore.
Yeah.
But we just opened up with everything we had. We didn't want it to happen to us to what happened to the Big Red One. Carrying those bodies out.
How long were you in that position for?
Just the 1 day.
Just 1 day.
Yeah, and then we set out some scouts and some patrols, and we actually found a Viet Cong in a foxhole that got raked with gunstrips, UV gunstrips, and he had a hole right through his head, and he's just there. So we took his wallet and everything, and we found his family photos and everything, and just like we did, Yeah. These guys sent down to death. But that was probably the worst night of my life.
Really?
Yeah. But and then actually one other day, a real close call was I never got along with my platoon sergeant ever since basic training. We just despised each other, and any hard detail that he could come up with, he would give to me. And I was on a machine gun team, so I would carry the machine gun during the day. And then if it was such a long sweep or in the jungle, 8 hours or whatever, we would pass it off. Save the next guy, your strength and stuff. So I was on a machine gun team, and we're doing another sweep to the jungle. And we knew that a regiment of VC were in the area with spotter planes and everything. So we're going to be going forward. So he calls out my name, Augustine, you're on point. And I got handed a machete. He thought I was going to die that day, my sergeant. And all I did, I gave him a look that he probably still thinks about it to this day. I didn't shirk the order, I didn't say, no, I'm not going to do it.
Right.
I did it, I just grabbed that. I never said a word to him, but I stared him down, and he knew what he was doing. So here I am with a machete. He had me next to M16, and I'm chopping through the jungle and going forward. So maybe not about an hour. We had flanks out, doing massive sweep. And all of a sudden, didn't hear any more animal noises, no more bird chirping, no nothing. Dead silent. And there's a whole gigantic clearing. And I'm moving forward, and all of a sudden, I heard a big shh, and an RPG round hit a tree right next to my head, maybe right over here, and bounced next to my foot and didn't go off. And there was an anthill, maybe this high or so, and I jumped behind the anthill. Ting, 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 bullets were going off. And it was a VC base camp that I walked right into, but lucky, they all took off except for 2 guys in a slit in the ground. They were in a bunker.
Yeah.
All they had to do was shoot me in the chest. They decided to shoot a rifle grenade, which was it hit what they said. It hit the tree at a slant. It didn't hit the blasting part of it, I guess. It bounced right next to my bull. Within a split second like that, and then I dove. Saved my life. But 2 of my buddies got him with an M60 machine gun. Both of those guys ran down the trail, and they killed those 2 guys. But I got the picture of this slit in the ground, and I got a picture of the base camp. But it had to be the worst day of my life beside the other.
Yeah. Did your platoon sergeant say anything about that?
I never talked to him.
No.
And actually, believe it or not, he got sent home, had a nervous breakdown. He was just a coward. After he trained us and everything, when he went over, never saw him ever again.
Was that right after that instance with the RPG?
I believe so. Yeah. I just stayed away from him. We never liked each other.
All right. So you said that you were going through the backyards of
Yes.
the locals.
Yeah, we would never go down trails with it. My platoon sergeant was a very, very sharp guy.
Yeah.
He did 3 tours in Nam.
Okay.
He wrote a book. I'm in a book called. You should actually bring it up. It's called Letters to Tony.
Okay.
Okay, it's Tony Schiavolino out in New Jersey, and we were on an ambush patrol one night, and we got a new replacement.
Right.
From Korea. He was 31 years old. Guy never saw combat. He was a lifer, joined and everything, Army lifer, and he was a replacement in our unit. So we were going to take him out on our first ambush patrol, and we all set up. And I have a friend up in. His name is John Quinn. He lives up in Cape Cod now. And he was from Cheshire, Connecticut. He was we called him an old guy too. He was 28, believe it or not, and I believe he got drafted. But
At 28?
Yeah.
Wow.
27 or 26, but when we went to Nam, he was 28. And he was supposed to be in that position. So while we were setting up, everybody says, no, I'll be with him, I'll be with him. Sometimes you want your buddy to be with you.
Mm-hmm.
So they're in 4-man positions that night. So what happened during the night, the Korean fella, brand new on this first ambush, he got woken up at 1 o'clock and he squints his eyes and he opens up and he saw a movement and he went with his M16 on automatic and he went, brrr. He killed my buddy from East Haddam, Ray Van Cedarfield. He killed Tony Schiavolino, what the book is written about. Blew his head right off. He died in he's in my sergeant's arms, gurgling, and he looks at the back of his head. The back of his head was gone. And Sergeant Lyons, he ruined his arm for life. And then my friend got injured somewhere else. Don Jones from Ohio.
Jeez.
All 4 guys got hit. 2 of them. We went out of that jungle at 1 o'clock in the morning, absolutely bawling, crying. It's the worst thing that could happen. So my friend John Quinn now, He's about 75, 76 now. He lives up in Falmouth, Massachusetts. To this day, the guy is just a total wreck because he was supposed to be in that position,
Right.
and he's so guilty. You know, and it's so difficult.
What happened to this other guy that?
Immediately, we never saw him again because they were going to kill him. Oh yeah.
So you got him out
Oh,
there.
they would have killed him.
Yeah.
So they got him out. Never saw him again. Ever. They got him out of there.
That's just a nervous reaction.
Yes. Yeah. Oh sure.
Did you have any interaction with the locals though? How was that?
Interaction with the locals?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
People come up to the line selling soda, pot, of course.
Okay.
There were drinkers and there were potheads. I was friends with everybody.
Yeah.
And I was sort of like a health guy.
Right.
So I never did any of that. It was funny. I even built benches and things out of sandbags, and sometimes we would guard like the perimeter or something for hours and hours and hours, and we would just lift weights. We would make bamboo poles with sandbags on the ends.
Oh, wow.
Lift, I just got into it. It was really funny.
Yeah.
But keep in shape and things like that. But anyway, the locals would try to sell you sodas. And then word got around sometimes that there was crushed glass in some of the bottles of soda, so they said, don't buy any more soda from the locals, things like that. And then I studied we had a Vietnamese to English and English to Vietnamese little pamphlets, and I would study that a lot. And I became so proficient at it that they used me as an interpreter.
Oh, wow.
So that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'd go into a village and I'd say, Ciao tu inukta. And all of a sudden people would bring over ice water. I'd say, how the hell did you get that? My buddies, pretty neat. So I became pretty happy doing that kind of stuff. How the hell, where are you going? And, I knew quite a bit. And so that was pretty neat. I did get injured once we were on a trail, and I got hit in the face with some kind of wood or something. And I got sent to Saigon.
Mm-hmm.
I had a patch on my eye. I just couldn't even move my eyeball. It was just so painful. And I got to go there for about 5 days. And they said my instructions were to wear civilian clothes. You don't want to be a target.
Right.
And you would be seeing an 82-year-old Vietnamese woman surgeon. And I don't know why the American medic or whatever hospital tends to take care of me, but I went on my own. I took a shuttle and my camera, and I got great shots of all around Saigon for the week that I was there. And I dated a 17-year-old Vietnamese girl right out of the officers' club, chow hall.
Right.
But anyway, I go there each day to eat. I had a pass to eat there, and we went to a movie at night, and it was really incredible because here I am walking in with a patch on. I'm a white guy. They didn't know who I was. Of course, could have been a soldier, maybe not. And I have a beautiful little 17-year-old Vietnamese girl, and everybody in the theater turns around. You're like in a fishbowl. And then the movie, it was incredible. It was, you couldn't see the movie because there were 4 lines of captions: French,
Oh, wow.
English, China, and Vietnamese. And couldn't even enjoy the movie. But it was just really something that I did that. And she actually wrote me about 2 more letters to my unit. I gave her my information. Her name was Lynn. And then that was it. She must have met another GI or something after that. I got 2 letters. It was really neat.
She must have spoken English pretty well.
Pardon?
She must have spoken English
A little
pretty
bit,
well.
yeah. But what got me is here's this big, beautiful, air-conditioned place in downtown Saigon. Here I am in the jungle, all and my buddies. I'm just thinking of them, fighting for their lives. And here's these guys, gourmet meals,
Yeah.
and waitresses, these beautiful white gowns on these young Vietnamese waitresses and everything. They really had it made there, So that's quite an experience too. But the photos that I have are really great. You can see they call it black market. A lot of American products, cigarettes, chewing gum, lined up right on the street, and Vietnamese people selling American products. And that was incredible to see. And then I went to R&R. I went to Hong Kong, China, and then when I got transferred to the 4th Infantry Division in early March of '67, which was 7 months into my tour.
Okay.
Because we all couldn't go back at the same time, contained in base camp, because we were one unit. So we all got transferred to different units all over the country. I ended up in the 4th Infantry Division, 2nd to the 12th, at Michelin Rubber Plantation, which was only about 35 miles from Saigon. From Tainan, our base camp. It was the same area.
Yeah.
And basically, I did the same thing.
So this, you said 7 months after you...
7 months after I arrived in Vietnam, August 4th.
Yeah.
And
this is after all of these.
it happened to all of us.
Okay.
Some guys were saying, "Oh boy, I'm going to go into be an MP in Saigon." Yeah, it didn't happen to me.
Right.
So here I am. I'm back at the same thing. It was ambush patrol, search and destroy missions, etc.
Okay.
And that was at the Michelin Rubber Plantation, which Michelin tires come from.
Right.
It was all rubber trees, and we were right at that base camp.
Doing same type of missions.
Exactly the same type of missions.
Okay.
And then I ended up March 21st, which was the Battle of Sutri, called LC Gold. And we were coming in for support. And make a long story short, you know about the whole battle, but we were just ready to fix bayonets and going into the center. And we got radioed to just hug the ground. And the 2nd to the 22nd and the 2nd to the 34th Armor divisions came in firing the 50s, and they just saved the whole day. It was absolutely obliterated. 650 Vietnamese body count.
Really?
Was there that day. They had to come down with bulldozers and just scrape the field and everything. But I have a map of that, where I was, and I've got photos from the helicopters, from the burned out field and all that. Many stories of LC Gold.
So your participation in LZ Gold, so your proximity...
Basically, I was saved, or my unit was saved.
Okay. All right. So tell us a little bit about your life back at base. So your downtime. You said that you were working out.
Yeah, I'd be working out.
Things like
Guys, we'd eat sea rations. Guys would be smoking pot, eating a lot.
Yeah.
They eat. Then there were the guys that would like the beer.
Right, yeah.
But
and you stay pretty healthy.
I basically stayed healthy. I did try the pot once, and I just ate my heart out.
Right.
We'd be fighting over the food. It was just funny. I tried that one night. Never really got that much into it. We'd have to burn the excrements, of course.
Right.
That was some of the detail. There was always detail. We were never sleeping on lunches. We were always here to say, "Get ready, we're leaving in a half an hour." The helicopters would line up and go to another mission. It was always surprise.
Right.
Surprise the enemy, or support.
Okay.
Things like that. One other thing that happened there at base camp, we were showing a new guy, we're going to go on an ambush patrol, how to set up a claymore mine.
Right.
And they put it on the floor. And this is what you do. A couple of guys are on the cots, watching them. And the guy says, you put it in right here, you screw it in, and the kid's picking up the detonators.
Okay.
Thank you. And he clicks the damn
no.
thing. Kid that was sitting next to him blew his legs right off to his knees. He went boom, like that, and it killed the guy walking outside the tent, walking by. Word got around, don't ever put the blasting thing in a claymore mine, only out in the jungle from now on.
That's terrible.
And then that was during the first month that we were there.
And that was back at base.
Absolutely horrible. That back at base, yeah. Just showed the new guy what to do.
Yeah.
All these little things come up, and I remember now. But he was just incredible. I mean, all you do is just slap yourself all day
Mosquitoes.
in the jungles, and you're constantly soaking wet. One other little thing that I was on a nice mission, search and destroy mission. We got a break because we decided where we wanted to go next, and there was a little bridge and a stream of water coming through. But it looked just like chocolate. That's how dark it was. But a lot of Vietnamese kids were there from the village. So just so hot and sweaty. Can we go in the water, Sarge? Whatever. So we go in the water, and because I was so strong and lifting the weights and all that while I was there, I would sit a Vietnamese kid on my hand. I was shot put him. And I mean, he went about 30 feet. And these kids, I was their carnival. I was a human walking carnival.
Yeah.
They loved me. That's why you see these 9 kids hanging on me in this book. I was a big hero to them. And then I could speak a little Vietnamese too. I thought I was the greatest thing. So I come out of the water, and I must have had 21 leeches on me.
Oh, no.
Right on my scrotum, dug in. And my sergeant was over laughing his head off. He was Hawaiian, the Sergeant Moult, we called him. And he takes a cigarette, because you don't want to pull them off.
Right.
The heads will break off and you get diseases and stuff, And all over my body, he's using either insect repellent, you can squirt them,
Right.
Because it burns, or the head of a cigarette. And you burn them. So there I am standing there, I hated these things all over, That was quite a thing I never forgot. But the children were great.
Yeah.
When we went to a village, immediately I would start talking. And they never could get over that. Because they all thought that we didn't know how to speak their language. So I'm glad I did that. I would study every night, any chance I could. And then I just keep on repeating phrases. It was mostly phrases that I would say.
Right.
So that was pretty cool. And then you'd say "Chao Ba" to an older Vietnamese grandfather. "Chao Ba," Chao Ko was. Then you say "Chao Duck," pretty young girl.
Right.
Of course, we're young guys.
Yeah.
We're going to go with those kind of phrases. "Ko de Bois." Oh, you're a very pretty young girl. Things like that. So that got us going.
So, were you able to keep in touch with your family regularly?
Yes, and it was horrible. After about 5 months or so, my mother wrote me a letter that my best friend was going out with my wife.
No.
And that was devastating. All you want to do is go home. You know what I mean? And here I am, for the next 7 months or so. And it was horrible. Yeah, it happened to a lot of guys. Dear John, you've heard that.
Yeah.
But here I am. I was married, son on the way. So October 26th comes up, and the Red Cross, I'm in the jungle, and the Red Cross comes up to me, a warrant officer, and he says, "You're a father," and that's when I knew my son was born. I felt great, but it was like a premonition. They named him after me, and I says, "Uh-oh, I'm not going to be coming home." Here's my mom and dad. My son was named after my first name, Gerald. So. But he lives down the street now. He's 48, and he's got MS. He's never worked, and I'm 100%. I take care of him. He's my dependent. Pay all of his bills. He brings them up every month. So that's the way it's been for me. And absolutely, I think going to Vietnam and the way the war was, I never should have been there. It totally changed my whole life.
Right.
I've been divorced 3 times. 2 more common law marriages. So I used to say that I'm divorced. I live here alone. Nobody will live with me. It's just my nature, the way I am, I think.
Right.
My son just committed suicide last October 26th on the birthday of my other boy. And I could almost cry right now. The kid was a genius. My son Mark. He's 38 years old. And he was dead. He had PTSD. And I believe he got it from me. So it's what happens to us soldiers in Vietnam.
He didn't serve.
He didn't serve, but he grew up with the way I brought up my family. I think it was part of it. I had, in 1980s, right in this room, it hit me. I had to go to day treatment for, they didn't call it PTSD then. They called it mood disorder. And I had to go to Newington Veterans Hospital for a year of day treatment, they call it. And then after that, I did a couples group for a year. But eventually, we got divorced in 1994, the year that my son graduated from Xavier High School. He got 7 awards. President Clinton wrote him a letter.
Really?
He got the Science Award. He got the award for being the most proficient student at St. Mary's parochial school while he was in 8th grade. For the 4 years that he was there, the nuns arrived at Xavier High School and gave him a special award. He got the best poster in the state of Connecticut when he was in 8th grade. Lower Weicker gave him $500. I got photos of that. And he was brilliant. He was an artist. He did all my cars. It was totally devastating. And there's photos of him right over there. Anyway, I'll show you some of his work that he did. But it's absolutely horrible that happened. So, his name was Mark.
Sorry to hear that.
It's things that happen to to the veterans. I mean, after all I did and stuff, brought it home. What happened to me is weren't getting along. I was destroying the house, basically. You know, just tensions and anxiety, maybe, I don't know.
You think it was from your time over there?
Yeah, well, the battles I was in, the fright for a whole year, being blown up that time, you know, things you see, you know, it's really devastating. Tried to make the best of it, you know, everything I did, I tried my best. But like I said, I brought that home. It actually moved over to him, I believe, you know. It's really hurting my older boy here, you know. He's a half-brother, because I got married, you know, 7 times. I had two more boys. And my other son, Michael, his brother, his close brother, lives with my ex-wife about 3 miles from here, Michael. But he's never worked. He's a college graduate. He's about 400 pounds, lives with my ex-wife, doesn't even talk to me. You know, and people think I'm the nicest guy. It's really weird. But, you know, oh yeah. They made me chaplain. I said, me? You know, chaplain of the American Legion, of the DAV in town.
Right.
And I'm the commander of the Vietnam vets, you know. I don't know.
Well, you said that you enjoy writing. That's a
Oh
little bit of a
yeah,
hobby
yeah.
for you.
I write now.
Did you, while you were over there, did you happen to keep a journal or anything like that?
Not really. No, I wish I did.
Yeah.
Because I wish I did have a journal. My sergeant did. My sergeant Figueroa. He wrote a great thing when I went down the well. He wrote something for me. He sent it in 2010 just to prove what happened. You know.
Yeah.
But anyway, but I enjoy the writing now, and I really think, I believe that. That's why we go to the talks with the 8th graders.
Yeah.
And Independent Day School, and in any event I can, I go. You know, they have me lay the flags out at the state cemetery.
Right.
Myself and another fella from Cromwell, a friend of mine, and we're the ones that lay the wreaths down. And they have us do a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I really honor that. You know, I just absolutely love it. You know. And I just bought a bench for my son. It's at the state cemetery. I've got a $400 bench for him with his name on it.
That's nice.
You know, and he's actually right next door to the next cemetery over in town here.
All right. Well, so you come back after your service in Vietnam.
Right.
So tell me about your discharge. Tell me where you were, when
Yeah,
it was.
I flew on American Airlines right out of Saigon, right to the day, August 4th of '67. I arrived there August 4th of '66. And I arrived at Bradley Field.
Right.
After they have about a 4-day time down at McGuire Air Force Base where they test you, and you do tests and things, and you're medical.
Mm-hmm.
So after that, I arrived, told my mom and dad, they picked me up at Bradley Field, and I literally kissed the ground. I did. I went right down on my knees. I kissed the ground. I came home, and things started to be different. They noticed changes in me. They had a big party. My aunts came down from Troy, New York. You know, they had a big backyard party, of course. I got right into working.
This is your
The next
homecoming?
day, that was my homecoming.
Yeah.
Within that week, I believe. It was a family homecoming, you know.
That's nice.
And I started to live with my ex, which didn't work out. You know, what happened? I went to Programming and Systems Institute. I joined to do the school, 2-year school,
Right.
to do computer programming.
Okay.
And it was going to East Hartford every Tuesday night. And one night it was raining, and the instructor didn't show up. I came home early, and there's my best friend, and my wife.
Yeah.
That did it. Put in for a divorce, and I got custody of my son.
Good.
I gave him all my history, and I got custody of my boy, and he still lives down the street. And like I say, he's got MS and never worked. You know, but
Did you get to finish the school?
Yes, I did. I finished school, but in the meantime, because of the roofing work, I started working with my dad. Winter came, and it was seasonal, so I couldn't work anymore. And here I have a son, you know, got to support him. So what I did, I went to Pratt & Whitney Aircraft,
Right.
Because I always liked mechanical drawing, etc. in high school, and they hired me right away, and I took a 12-week course, and I ended up, they put me on the floor in 8 weeks. I maxed it out, I ran on the floor. And I worked there as an engineering draftsman for 5 years.
Okay.
And then I just couldn't take the indoor work anymore.
Yeah.
I just decided to go out on my own. And exactly 5 years, right to February. And I bought a brand new Chevrolet van, lettered it up myself, put a rack on it, bought the ladders. I bought a ladder vader. You could take up 2 bundles of shingles at a time, you know, zzz, dump them.
Yeah.
And I went to work all alone. For 3 years, I worked all alone doing roofing. Tough work.
Yeah.
Tear off roofs, carry the plywood, all alone.
You usually see
I
like
was just alone.
6 or 7 guys up there.
Yeah, I know.
By yourself.
Yeah, and I did that for 3 years, and then my father says, well, you might need a helper. So, 1976 comes along, and I got my first helper,
Mhm.
and I just, holy shit, I don't have to climb down the ladder and get this stuff. And it totally changed me.
Yeah.
And then I ended up getting the pneumatic nailers and things like that, and I just really took off there.
Right.
So I became very successful at it.
That's good.
And I ran my own business, but I never let another guy do any of the applying. I always did all my own. And in 1985, I had a back operation, because I went down a punching pit also with all my gear, and I crushed my back in that. So I've always had this pain. So finally, it ended up that in 1985 at West Haven, I had my 5th lumbar disc taken out. And they said it was the largest disc they ever saw, and they had to pick out everything with tweezers all around my spine. And to this day, I still have pain. But I still did the roofing all those years.
Yeah.
It was amazing, But, I lost track here. So I did the roofing, self-employed, like I said, all the years, and worked right up until I was 62, and I decided, I worked enough.
Yeah.
So I basically retired in 62, 7 years ago.
Do you still keep in touch with any of your buddies from
Oh yeah. From where? I'm sorry.
from the war?
From war? Oh yeah. Some Ohio guys,
Right.
Sergeant Figueroa sent Christmas cards, and we talked to them. Upstate New York, there's a few.
A couple guys in Mass. You said.
Yeah, and basically I made such good friends with the local Vietnam veterans here, that we just had such a good time.
Yeah. It's like you served.
I try to do the best I can. But I still have the problem with the PTSD, and I'm going to be interviewed with a judge from Washington, D.C. The next appointment is coming up. They're going to send me a letter, they said. I had a problem with my last one because I knew about my son. Didn't want to know anything about it, and I just went. They carried me out of there. 6 police officers carried me out of there. They brought me down to a psychiatrist, and so I'm waiting for another appointment. I can't believe that they want to talk about a rash on my hand, which went away 12 years ago, and my shoulder was injured. And he says, this is what we're going to do today. We're going to talk about your shoulder. And all of a sudden, I just lost it. And so I had a PTSD flashback deal, and they had to carry me out of the room. I just totally lost it. And that's been my problem. I do have PTSD. I'm 70% disabled from the war. I've had back operations. I have malignant melanoma, and they don't want to claim that that's part of the war. I've had my lymph nodes taken out, so I have that. I get every 6 months I have CAT scans. The last time I saw my hematologist at West Haven, she said it's definitely connected with the war, but the paperwork has me going back to Newington into my records.
Really?
So I'm waiting for that too. They tried to deny it, so I'm still waiting for that.
It's rough.
Yeah.
Trying to get the paperwork through that.
Sure.
All right. So you said that you're a part of a few different organizations, the VFW, and
Yeah,
DAV.
I joined them. I basically joined them all. VFW, I joined.
Okay.
The DAV,
Yeah.
Chapter 7 of Middletown. I belong to Sam Rano's up in East Hartford,
Mhm.
which is VKVSW,
Okay.
Veterans of Korea, Vietnam, and Saudi Wars.
Okay.
It's a chapter that he started, Chapter 1
Yeah.
in East Hartford, a great chapter.
Wow.
And he's also our Vietnam representative,
Mhm.
advocate. Yeah. So the representative that I'm going to do the interview with in Washington,
Mhm.
he called Sam up. He says, "I want you to be there with him the
Yeah.
next interview."
It's good to have a friend there.
Yes. So that's going to happen. I'm glad of that. You see, Sam Rano was a great man. He's done many, many good things for us veterans.
Okay. That's great.
And he's a Marine, and he's out of Middleton. He actually grew up parallel to my street,
Really?
on the next street down. And it's amazing that I haven't seen him in 50 years, and all of a sudden I meet him. I says, "Your brother used to chase me around." He's got a twin brother.
Yeah.
But anyway, so things just go around. It's really
Yeah.
something.
That's
So
funny.
yeah.
All right. So do you?
I'm sorry.
No. Go ahead.
Well, I'm also on the committee of building the we call it GMMM. It's Greater Middletown Military Museum,
Mhm.
and I'm on the committee of building that. It's going to groundbreaking should come up in November.
Where is that?
It's going to be in Middletown at the Trees of Honor,
Okay.
at this, right next door to the 65 trees that are dedicated to our lost veterans from the Saudi wars. It's over there.
That's really nice.
So anyway, I've been working with them for the last 5 years also. So I do that. So proud that I did what I did. I'm glad I fought for my country. I do it again. But when I came home, like I say, I was all wound up.
Yeah.
And someone talked me into, you should try to become a bodybuilder. So he brought me, in 1968, he brought me to the first contest.
Yeah.
To see up in Holyoke, Massachusetts. So there I am in my mother's basement, training like a madman for 8 years.
Yeah.
It took me 8 years, and I finally won Mr. New England and Mr. Northeastern America. And I was in the movie with Pumping Iron with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Famous.
So that was the highlight of my
Yeah.
bodybuilding career. And then I just went gung ho into my roofing business,
Yeah.
basically, you know.
Do you think that your time in the service, could you attribute your success afterwards to?
With the goals, sure. Because they taught us to be goal-oriented there.
Right.
You know, the training was amazing. Amazingly good training
Yeah.
that we did. And I became a goal-oriented person.
Bodybuilding, and then you said
Yeah,
that.
and then so when I had the problems with the PTSD and things, in 1988, I believe it was, I had the problems with the PTSD, and they sent me to West Haven, and they were trying to put me on Prozac. And I was so lethargic I couldn't even move. I said, I can't even work. So I met a person that same week, and they said, you ought to become a runner. You ought to try running.
Right.
Holy cow.
That helped.
The adrenaline,
Yeah.
I felt so good. I ran around the block. That was it. 17 years of competitive running I did. 6 marathons. Amazing stuff, you know.
All it took was running around the block. Huh?
Oh, yeah. And
And
I
you
have
had the
100-something trophies in the back room back here.
Yeah.
And I ran the 100th Boston Marathon. I passed out 11,000 runners. I must have ran 30 miles, not 26.2.
Was this,
I zigzagged the whole thing.
was this after?
That was in 1996. Yeah, that was later on in my running career.
Okay.
And I ran everywhere. I ran in Hawaii. I won the 40s. I took a trophy in the 40s division there. I won the Marine Corps thing in San Antonio, Texas. They had a Marine run for children.
Is that the marathon?
No. Marathons, I'm not a marathon runner. I found that out. I ended up in the medical tent in every one of them.
Okay.
The Marines would pick me up and carry me. I became taking an orange here, an apple here after the thing. But I always ended up in the medical tent. I always got IVs and everything.
Yeah.
I was just too, I couldn't keep my low pace.
Right.
I would just burn myself out. So 6 of them was enough. I've done 6 different marathons. But I'm a real good 5K runner, which is 3.1 miles. And that's what I stuck to over the years. You know, but I became very good at it. And then someone dared me. They said, you want to try that Empire State Building run-up? And this guy I bet you he's one of the top 5 best runners in Connecticut. So it's a funny story. I don't want to go into it too long, but I met him in the basement of the Empire State Building, and he was in the elite division. So the women go first. 5 minutes later, you know, you can't take everyone down the hallway.
Right.
It's 35, group of 35.
Okay.
And you have to fight for this door, and then you start running up the thing. So anyway, the women go first, and 5 minutes later, the elites go that have done it before, or the real good, you know, top runners of the world. And then the novices go. And I was in the novice division for the first year in 1996. And I got up to the top, and guess what? I beat him by 15 seconds
Really?
with my time. He couldn't believe it. He never
I
went
love
back. He did it 11 years, and he never went back.
Really?
But anyway, it's just a funny story.
Yeah.
And I said, I got to keep to this thing until I win this thing.
Right.
So the year that I won it, I went to Las Vegas to train the week before, and I did every morning. I'd wake up at 6:30 in the morning, and I did 3 heats of 38 floors as fast as I could go, and I would time myself. And every morning, I got better for the whole week. I came home on Saturday. The run was Tuesday, and when I warmed up that Tuesday morning, I warmed up from the basement. There's just 1 flight of stairs to the first floor. It's about 38 steps. Anyway, I couldn't even feel my legs. They were in such good shape. And I said, man, am I going to have a good one today? And I won it. There were 18 competitors from all over the world.
Wow.
And I won. I beat the closest to me was a guy from Japan. He was 6 seconds behind me. And it's one of the highlights of my life, winning that Empire State Building with 1950s division. It was 14 minutes and 28 seconds.
I've never heard of it before. That sounds
Oh, it's
great.
amazing. Every February they do it.
Every February.
It's right around George Washington's birthday.
Yeah.
You know, and they have King Kong, that guy dressed up. It's a fun thing.
That's sweet.
And it's a big benefit, you know, it goes to a good cause.
Yeah.
That's what it's for. But it's written in that book.
Okay.
So anyway, I did that, and you know, I'm going to do it next year because I'm going to place in the 70s. First, second, and third, I don't care, but I do want to place
Do it again.
because I've always placed. The 8 years that I did 4 seconds, 3 thirds, and 1 win.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel I want to place.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm dedicated. I'm going to train right through the winter. I'm
That's good.
going to dedicate myself. So I'm going to do that.
What about reunions with your? You said you were in 7th.
No, the 196 Light Infantry Brigade.
196.
Every 2 years they have them.
Yeah.
And I did go to the one in Buffalo.
Okay.
And I went to one in Ohio the past few years, you know. And that's where they made the video.
Yeah.
And 22 of my photos are in the video.
Okay.
And it's by the cousin of Tony Cipollino that got killed that night.
Yeah.
His cousin that made it. It's really, really wonderful.
Must have
That's got to be in the archives.
Yeah.
It has to be. You got to see this thing.
They must have loved it.
Okay, yeah, and then, let's see, the 4th, I haven't gone to a 4th reunion though, because those guys weren't like brothers to me. Because the brothers were the guys that you trained with from the start.
Mm-hmm.
We were over at Nam together, you know, for 7 more months, and yeah, we were together for over a year.
Mm-hmm.
They became brothers, you know, like that. So I don't keep in much contact with the guys from the 4th division. I was only there for the 5 months about.
Right.
And for the last month, which was the greatest thing, I became a real good friend with my platoon leader, lieutenant. I really forgot his name. I wish I knew it. And boy, we became real good friends. And he said, "Jerry, why aren't you spec 4? What happened?" He said, "I said, well, I was on my R&R. I came back late, and they found me in a bar. I didn't know there was a curfew at 11 o'clock in downtown Saigon.
Yeah.
MPs took us. They put us on a chopper back to our unit, and I got an Article 15.
Oh, no.
I lost my rank, so I really came back as a PFC." But my records are there that I'm spec 4.
Okay.
You know. So anyway, the lieutenant says, "How much more time you guys?" He says, "Well, I'm a short timer. I got 2 months to go." So I'm on these ambush patrols, and he says, "I tell you what," he says, "you're going to guard the base camp for your last 30 days."
Mm-hmm.
He says, "I have the right to do that for you, you know." So for the last 30 days that I was in Nam, I was at the main gate at the Mitchell Rubber Plantation, and I got some photos of that. And it was like a job, because it was, 3 square meals a day, and you just go back and you guard the main gate. But then I think back, I said, they could have thrown a satchel charge right into that bunker.
Oh, no.
I could have been wiped out there. And you know something? I never slept in a bunker, because that's a target.
Mm.
We had these bunkers. We built over 600 sandbags per bunker, all around the Tainin base camp. And I'm in that tomb, and I says, a guy comes up in the middle of the night, they can just throw something in there, you're dead. I always slept 15 meters behind you, right on the ground.
Yeah.
Right on for all the time I was in Vietnam, my helmet was my pillow. Somehow you just get comfortable inside your helmet. So, that was something else to think about. So we always have these things, to save your life. Oh, another thing too was, after about a month or a month and a half that we were there, we got a replacement. Robert, it was in the beginning of the end of October or November. Anyway, we got to replace Robert Brockman.
Okay.
He's on the wall. 6'5" Irish guy, white as can be, white, pasty skin, redhead. And here we are in the ground where we are in the jungle and all that. And here's this guy, he stood up, bingo.
Oh, no.
Sniper got him. First week he was there, brand new first lieutenant. And he was our replacement platoon leader. Horrible. We learned, we always talk to short timers about, what do you do, what's next to stand up. While we were there, by then we were learning
Don't stand up.
how to keep low, and
Yeah.
that was horrible. So I never forgot that too. So, back to a thing, it changed my life back home. I became a workaholic.
Yeah.
Total workaholic. I wouldn't even come down for lunch on a peak of a roof. I'd have a sandwich in one hand and an apple in the other. And he said, "How the hell do you do that?" And a cup over here. And my buddies are laughing. They're on the ground under a tree, sweating, and here I am. "You guys can take your half an hour. I'm working." That's the way I worked for 40 years.
That's good.
And I read books about that. That's part of our, our drive and ambition, and how Vietnam has affected us.
Right.
For some unknown reason. And then, of course, we didn't get the welcome home, too. And we always thought about that, you know, to this day. And I am going to the vet center now every Monday, and 9 o'clock in the morning. And then I do a little riding group after that at 11, too. I got involved with that, so I come home about 1 o'clock. So from 9 to 1, I go to the vet center in Rocky Hill, and we talk with about 12 veterans. You know, usually it's about average of a dozen guys. And my God, the things they come up with, it hits me. It hits me right here.
Yeah.
Because my God, that's me. What they go through, you know. And these guys have families, and I'm one of the. You know, they all have wives, most of them. And you know, I'm one of the only ones that, you know. I called my girlfriend. She was 40 miles from me. She was a writer for UConn, and she's retired now. And you know, we're still together, and for 9 years and 3 months now. And you know, she's absolutely a wonderful person. She has a sister in New Jersey with a family, you know, and why they treat me so nicely. So I'm glad I have a real good girlfriend now. But these guys, you know, we have camaraderie.
Yeah.
And this coming Saturday, I'm having a big giant party with them. No women at all, but it's just going to be us.
Yeah.
Just us guys that are in the vet center group, and we're going to have a big barbecue right out there.
That's good.
And you're going to see my garage. You know, I'm interested. And I just dedicated myself to the garage because I did it with my son that I lost, you know, for years and years. We got into this old drag racing venue thing because I used to go to Connecticut Dragway years ago. And I used to love those cars. So mine are like we call them tribute cars.
Right.
So I built 5 tribute cars out there.
Oh wow.
Over the years, and we've shown them all over. Got all kinds of awards. We were at Foxwoods in the Grand Ballroom there twice. Mohegan Sun.
Right.
We won best display. My son won best display 4 years in a row.
That's really cool.
Yeah. He was a great artist. You know, they all miss him. They made, I don't know if you've heard of Cruise in New England out of Massachusetts.
I have.
We're in one of their, we have the Gasser video that's been shown.
Yeah.
And they dedicated their whole year to my son Mark. His picture's on the end of it. And this is dedicated to Mark Augustine. We all miss him so much. It's horrible.
All right, Jerry. So, is there anything that you'd like to add that you feel like you left out? Anything?
Oh boy, yeah. Just you know, like Vietnam changed many guys' lives. You know, we're still fighting for, you know, what we believe we earned there. It's too bad that we didn't get the welcome home that we got. We're still fighting for that. But I find that now, with the parades and everything else, it's absolutely wonderful what we're getting now. Believe me, and I work so hard for this and for our organizations that we're doing this. You know, I just hope that you know, everybody has a better life from now on.
Yeah.
Of what they've had in the past. You know, it's too bad that we had it all in Vietnam. You know, and that it worked out. But now I hear that it's a tourist attraction, and you know, so a lot of guys just like to go back and see it, what they were and things. You know, I wouldn't mind it. You know, some guys that wouldn't have anything to do with it.
Yeah.
Some it really bothers a lot of people really bad. I mean, some of these fellows in our, you know, but we have to talk this out. And I believe the vet center is helping out quite a bit.
Yeah.
We got more guys that are coming in. The latest guy that we just got, my God, the poor guy. I said, man, we could have been like that a year or two ago, you know, the way it's affecting him. But anyway, I believe what they're doing today is really helping the Vietnam veteran out.
Yeah.
You know, we're going to continue working with this. Anything we can do.
All right. Well, thank you for your service.
Well, thank you.
We appreciate you letting us come out.
I hope this works out.
Oh well. So appreciate it. Thanks for your time.
Okay.